the weather. It gives us life, and it takes it away.
The tornado has touched down. You can't do anything.
It is a thing of staggering beauty and a destructive force, killing thousands every year.
The windows all blew out.
The whole thing's gone.
Holy crap.
It was the end.
It is gone. The building is gone.
And our warmer atmosphere is extra energy for our weather to unleash upon us.
Oh my God!
We meet the people who came face to face with Mother Nature and filmed it.
I've been fighting it for an hour.
I'm gonna sick to my stomach.
Holy! I just lost my house.
We hear firsthand how these people survived.
Oh my God, get in the house!
He's alive. He's alive.
It's pretty much the end of humanity.
I was really convinced I would die.
Using their incredible self-shot footage, we stare straight into the eye of the storm. And witness up close the sheer force of nature.
Oh my God, look at that! Oh, Jesus Christ. Everybody take cover, now!
Coming up in this episode, the Japanese tsunami sends millions running for their lives.
Oh my God, oh my God.
A Texan hero risks his life in attempting to save a drunken man.
I don't know whether he really realized that he was in a life or death situation.
And a wildfire in California forces a mother and son to separate.
Go!
In my mind, when that happened, I thought we were gonna die there.
Ofinato, Japan, 2011. Kenji Seto's sweet manufacturing business was rocked by a 9.1 earthquake. The most powerful to have ever hit Japan. But Kenji was already thinking about what was coming next.
かなり大きな地震だったんで、絶対来るなと。よし、逃げろ。逃げろ。津波来る。津波来る。逃げなさい。はい。はい、電気止めて、逃げて。避難。
Kenji survived the 1960 Japanese tsunami, thanks to the quick reactions of his father, and he's never forgotten what they did.
東日本大震災の大津波では早く逃げなくちゃということで。さあ、津波来るから逃げなさい。
Kenji and his 27 employees fled to a nearby hill, even before the tsunami warnings had sounded. 30 miles north in Otsushi, Tara Millen was in a group of Canadian and US conservationists who had just arrived at the harbor side.
The ground is shaking phenomenally right now. Like, I can barely stand up. We're gonna get out of here. You can see everybody just get the hell out. Who knows how big the tsunami could be. Everybody's getting out of their houses and going.
As people walked to safety, the Japanese Coast Guard headed towards the earthquake epicenter, 43 miles off the coast, to see if it had triggered a tsunami. Just a few miles out, they met the first wave. It was 30 foot high and incoming at 34 miles per hour. But many more were on their way, and the entire sea level was rising fast.
The water is just surging out, like the entire shore is exposed.
In Otsushi, Tara and the conservationists had fled to high ground and watched in disbelief.
This is going to be, I mean, this is, when it happened in Thailand, it originally started as a flooding, then the water got sucked out, and then the massive wave came. So look at the weird things that are exposed on the floor of the ocean.
Up the entire northeast coast, the sea receded, exposing their only line of defense, the breakwaters built after the 1960 tsunami. It also meant the first wave was just a few minutes away. In Ofunatu, a fireman captured the first image of the tsunami making landfall. The 16-foot sea barriers were already overrun, and the entire town had to get out immediately. Sweet factory owner Kenji Seitu and his workforce had reached high ground as the deluge arrived.
実はその私たちの町はこの堤防によって防潮堤によって財産や命は守ってもらえるんだって昔から思っていたわけなんですね。でそれが簡単に、堤防が破られてね、町が押し流されていくっていう姿を見て、強い悲しみは感じましたけどもね。
Street by street, the town was being washed away. Emergency drills kicked in, and millions evacuated along the whole northeast coast. But it was impossible to prepare for the sheer scale of this tsunami. The roof of this Ishinomaki gas refinery was the designated evacuation point for these workers. But the water rose with such ferocity that the workers on this third-floor roof had to climb even higher. In Sendai, the Coast Guard employees watched their harbor get ripped to pieces. Industrial gas storage tanks were ripped from their moorings, and ships and entire buildings were washed away. Back in Ofunatu, Kenji's sweet factory was just visible, but most of his town was gone, and he forgot his own safety.
自分がいるところも危ないなということで、後ろを振り向きながらですね、逃げろっつってみんなに声をかけたつもりが、どっかのお父さんが一人いただけ。
Just down the coast, in Minami Sanriku, not everyone had escaped quick enough. She made it out, but thousands of people were injured or marooned in sinking ships and sinking buildings. But the Coast Guard only had limited helicopters. In Ishinomaki, a man was clinging to a ship container before jumping onto an electricity wire. He held on for 15 minutes before he was eventually rescued. In Sendai, the wave reached 10 miles inland, engulfing the airport along the way.
Well, the fifth aftershock, and it's just shaking below our feet.
In Otsuchi, the entire town was wrecked. Tara and her friends were still on the hillside, but with no mobile signals and no road, they had nowhere to go. That night, over 1,000 miles of Japanese coastline was decimated.
Whatever buildings were here were completely destroyed.
Brian, Scott.
Tara and her team awoke to a tragic scene.
Everything is just completely destroyed here.
We went down to see what we were going to be able to do, and I think some of us still had this insane idea that we were going to be able to drive out of there.
So this is the road that we're supposed to get out on. The road has been completely destroyed. You can see it poking out there and all the water rushing away.
The whole of Otsuchi town had been wiped out, and over half of the 17,000 population were feared dead. In these freezing temperatures, it was a search, but not rescue mission. Along the coast, the water had risen 130 feet in places. 1 million buildings were damaged or destroyed. 250,000 people were displaced, and 20,000 lost their lives. The Fukushima nuclear reactor was also sent into meltdown, affecting 32 million people with dangerous levels of radiation. The Japanese Prime Minister described the tsunami as Japan's worst crisis since World War II. Deadly weather unleashes the greatest of human tragedies, but for some people, it is also the ultimate endurance test. Lewis Pugh is an ex-Special Forces ocean activist. He's aiming to swim over half a mile across the North Pole, where there shouldn't even be liquid water. Global warming has meant that patches of water now open up every summer. The water is minus 1.7 Celsius, so if it weren't salty, it would be ice. In this sea, most people would be dead within a minute, but Lewis has trained his body to warm itself up, so he's sweating before he jumps in. By the end, his shoulder straps are covered in ice, but his swim lasts 18 minutes and 50 seconds and sets a new world record. The Mount Washington Weather Observatory in New Hampshire recorded the fastest ever sustained non-storm winds. In 1934, they were 231 miles per hour. These weather observers are enjoying a mere 109 miles per hour, and walking is still almost impossible. In Luderitz, on the Namibian coast, Antoine Albo turns 55 mile per hour winds into a windsurf world speed record attempt.
The sand was flying everywhere, you know, like couldn't see where I was going. It was difficult, it was dangerous.
By going at an angle across it, he can sail just faster than the wind. And he sustains over 60 miles per hour. Our final extreme weather environment may not look like much, but is in fact the deadliest weather known to man. Pushing billions to the limits of their health, urban smog kills 4.6 million people every year. The worst affected city is Delhi in India. Air pollution here is 10 times World Health Organization limits, killing 20,000 residents annually. which shows you don't have to be a tough nut to deal with deadly weather every day. On the 29th of August 2005, the Category 5 Hurricane Katrina was twisting towards New Orleans.
And not too many cars out.
On the southern seaward side of the city, Carolyn Vaccarella and her husband Rocky were wrestling with a difference of opinion.
The storm was on its way, but it wasn't here yet. It was very calm. It was really nice.
I was not staying here with a possible Hurricane 4 or 5 hitting this area.
So Carolyn fled the city, leaving Rocky and their son Luke to square up to Hurricane Katrina.
Rocky chose to stay because we are inside the levee protection area, which, you know, we thought was going to be safe.
Across the street, Rocky's brother-in-law and his son also stayed behind and filmed the 120-mile-per-hour winds pulling apart Rocky and Carolyn's roof.
Well, the situation over here is terrible. I guess this will be the last one I see in my lifetime. Even though there were so many I've seen before and been through, but this is pretty rough. And I'm glad to be over here to give my helping hand.
But none of them realized what was to come. As the eye of Katrina passed over, it burst open the levees, sending a 25-foot storm surge their way.
Well, we were in the house and the water started coming up real high. My son and I went through a window and we grabbed onto the gutter pipe and pulled ourselves onto the roof.
Conditions on the roof were terrible, and the waters could rise even more with the coming tide.
It was very rough because the winds were blowing real hard and the water was starting to really go bad. There was a lot of different things floating in the water. Cars, trucks, parts of people's houses. Very scary.
Across the street, Rocky's powerboat had floated up with the floodwaters, and they had the rope. But it wouldn't budge.
I think you're hooked on the fence.
Then Rocky's brother-in-law had an idea.
Hey, you don't think you can swim over here? You think you can swim over here? Hey, swim to the boat.
My brother-in-law was able to contact his wife, my sister-in-law, and she called me. She was hysterical, yelling and screaming, saying about the water was, coming up, and Rocky and Luke were on the roof. And then the phone went dead. So for 6 days, I heard nothing.
Rocky sent his son Luke in first. If he could just get his courage up.
There you go. Good. Good! Yeah!
Then it was Rocky's turn.
Scared to get in the water, you know?
While from the water's side, his brother-in-law offered his support.
Get in the back! Get in the back! Help him get up. Get in the back! Why did he go to the front?
Even in the deadliest hurricane in U.S. history, there's always someone in the family who knows better. Rocky managed to start the boat and joined his brother-in-law. But dry land was 4 miles away, and they didn't have enough fuel.
And the water's still coming up. The cars are floating. That's it. I mean, what do you do? What do you do? Nothing you can do but to hit each other. Pray to God that you can make it through. That's all you can do. Pray for the best.
They spent a freezing night on the roof, but the seawater was just as high in the morning, and they weren't the only ones stranded.
Quick. Look at the dog. On top. There's an Alaskan Husky on top of the roof.
Yeah, I saw him earlier.
Come see this dog, how smart he is. A dog. He's a survivor. He's like a Vaccarella. I'm gonna get him. That's that Alaskan hunt.
But night after night, they were getting colder and weaker.
I actually stayed here in the water for like 5 days. And then they just decided, you know, hey, look, the water's not going down. No one's coming to help us.
Sometimes people passed by and gave us food.
By scavenging fuel, the family eventually managed to reach safety and save the Alaskan husky. But in the end, they had to admit, maybe Carolyn was right after all.
I mean, you just gotta, when they tell you to go, you got to be smart enough to go. You know, we should have packed everything. We packed everything upstairs. We could have packed that last night or yesterday and got out of here, but we didn't.
In deadly weather, just as in life, some can style out a potential disaster, and some can't. This pond at the bottom of a ski slope is probably best avoided. Apparently not. Best not attempt this on skis, though. Fair enough, that's a weather win. Wind is always crucial when gliding, but this pilot accidentally deploys his braking chute during takeoff. Combined with the blustery winds at altitude, he's losing control. As the winds hit 30 miles per hour, he has to land immediately. But on his final approach, there's a mighty solid wall. It's a weather fail, but as pilots say, any landing you can walk away from is a good one. Being crushed by an avalanche of snow, this man could be in serious trouble. But he hardly breaks his step and carries on with his day. In Sochi, Russia, an Angelina Jolie lookalike is vlogging about something nobody can hear. It's during a storm on the Black Sea. A beautiful weather fail, but she's still standing. Saving the most extreme till last, this young Russian is making the most of the snow with a 100-foot jump. At the bottom is a small drift to cushion his impact, adding a bit of fire for theater. Sure. Off he goes.
Живой! Живой!
He suffers severe winding and burns to his legs before being taken to hospital. It goes without saying, never attempt this, as it will likely cause terrible injury or death. Some weather winds are just not worth chasing. Coming up, a wildfire in California almost takes an artist's life.
All of the landscape was on fire.
And God damn it, go back. We're fine. Taylor, go back. I'm not kidding.
Two friends from Alabama flee a tornado in reverse.
Crossing the interstate right where we were.
And a skier in Switzerland is trapped under an avalanche. California, USA, in the hills north of San Francisco. A Saturday in September 2015, Lake County Sheriff Brian Martin was on a day off.
I was taking my son to his first youth football game of the season. When we arrived, we saw a plume of smoke coming up from the Cobb Mountain area. And I thought, well, that's probably not a good thing with the drought conditions.
It was a wildfire heading for the local towns. Brian ordered 10,000 people to abandon their homes. Kim Ringeisen and his son Kai joined the evacuation.
I was thinking, Kai, it's like, where are we going? We were driving into an apocalypse.
Halfway out, they turned their cameras on the unfolding destruction.
Oh, Dad, look.
The fire went a little crazy there as it came over the ridge and burned through this kind of prairie.
Okay, get out of here. Oh, there's a fire devil. Kai, go. Cool. Kai, go.
They were not the only ones to misjudge the speed of the fire. By evening time, thousands were still in their homes.
Our initial aim was actually for evacuations, and it quickly turned into rescue operations. This fire moved so quickly that some people didn't have time to get out.
Oh, Aunt Sandy's stuff is gone.
Anna Negrete had to rescue her elderly parents with her son, Eric.
We ran to the cars, and all the way out was covered in flames. Is when we were surrounded, like front, side, and back.
15-year-old Eric was in the first car with his brother Frankie and the dog. But Grandma's car behind was empty, as Mom and Grandma were still in the house.
Get in the car!
Get in the car!
I love you, Frankie. Go! Oh, Aunt Sandy's house caught on fire. I don't see Mom. Hopefully she makes it out.
The boys left without Auntie Sandra, Mom, or grandparents.
Hold on, Taquito. Hold on.
The inferno was closing in, but a car was blocking their way.
Don't be dumb. Drive.
And they crashed into it.
What the? Go, go. Stop, dog.
In my mind, when that happened, I thought we were gonna die there. We couldn't see or move very far in it, so we thought we were gonna die there.
Nearby, the police were looking for people left behind when they spotted a car surrounded by flames.
You can see them running up to the car, and you can actually see how hot the fire is because they can only get so close.
I'm responding to the fire.
They get up close enough to make sure that nobody's in there and quickly get back into their vehicle because the heat's just overwhelming and overpowering. And the only safe place for them at that time was in their car on their way out of that area.
Thankfully, the car was empty. But the fire was burning 6,000 acres an hour, and the police had to check a house behind a gas station.
Propane canisters were exploding and igniting all around us. And so it's just a very, very dangerous situation, and you're constantly on high alert when that happens.
Artist Julie Wolf's house was so sheltered in a deep valley that she didn't see or hear the fire until it was on her.
We saw fire for the first time, and it was only about 100 feet from the home. So then I panicked. I looked around and I said, why is there no firefighters? We just drove away. That was all we could do. There was a wall of fire.
There was only one road out.
I thought, well, we have to drive into this because we cannot turn around and go back or we'll be trapped. And it was pretty terrifying.
Her son, Grayson, was leading a convoy of 3 cars.
He said, we can get through this. All the houses, every house, after a certain point, was fully on fire as we passed, and all of the landscape was on fire. And I said to my daughter, take a look around and lock this in your memory. You'll never see this again. It was really horrifying. We drove 5 miles through a fire. It felt like it was never going to end.
The fire was beyond all control. The police did all they could to keep 10,000 people safe.
The heat that they were feeling was immense. The smoke was in some cases overwhelming. We had one deputy who had to be rescued because his car was overcome with smoke, and he wasn't able to continue on. I knew very early on that this was going to be the worst disaster that hit our county ever, and there was going to be a very long recovery. It was very clear that we were just going to have to wait for nature to do what it was going to do, and be there to pick up the pieces.
The fire burned for over 3 weeks. It destroyed over 1,000 homes and nearly 100 businesses.
I know that we saved a lot of lives during that fire. We were preparing for dozens of casualties, and that we lost 4 people is tragic, but it certainly could have been a lot worse than that.
Anna Negretti eventually caught up with the rest of her family.
Thanks to Eric seeing it and screaming made us, just rush out. I consider myself very lucky that we all made it alive.
Julie Wolfe also made it through, but lost the home her grandfather built.
The odd thing was that there was lots of small ceramic vases and things that survived the fire. It was really eerie. The landscape has completely changed. That's why so many people are not coming back.
Weather can be deadly, but it can also move in mysterious waves. Who knew swimming in sand was really possible? Well, all is not exactly as it seems. This is not sand, but volcanic ash, which is far lighter, and it is floating on top of a lake in Patagonia. The reason it doesn't sink into muddy paste is because of the sheer quantity. Like adding lots of flour to a pancake mix, it just sits on top until it's mixed in. But this is the desert in Saudi Arabia, and what looks like a fast-flowing river of porridge is just as strange. Following a huge storm upstream, it's a river of melting hail. Even in scorching Saudi heat, hail is possible. The air temperature drops by 11 Celsius for every mile up, so it is minus 60 in the clouds, where hail forms, filling the previously dry rivers and causing flash floods. In Indiana, America, a cyclist notices something highly unusual.
Oh my goodness. What the hell?
As far as he's concerned, this could be extraterrestrial. In fact, it's a very rare weather phenomenon called a crown flash. The electrostatic field of the cloud aligns ice particles in the air to be pointing in the same direction. This creates an ice lens, which refracts the sun to make this optical illusion. It's usually invisible, but occasionally the angles are just right. In Chile, it looks like our weather gods are defaming our skies. At 620 miles long, this is in fact a particularly impressive morning glory cloud. Their formation is still not fully understood, but it takes place where weather fronts meet, causing the air to roll in giant cylinders.
Double rainbow. Oh my God. It's a double rainbow all the way. Whoa, that's so intense. Whoa, man.
Californian farmer Paul Bear Vasquez is witnessing what he thinks is a very special weather event.
Whoa! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Woo! Oh wow! Woo! Oh my front yard! Oh my God! Oh my God, this mean. Help me.
Unfortunately, double rainbows don't mean anything. They're a common result of airborne water dispersing sunlight. Nevertheless, even gentle weather can be jaw-dropping.
Oh my God, it's so intense.
Corsicana, Texas, May 2015. Over 1.5 feet of rain fell in 2 days, filling the city with flash floods. Chrissy Heischman had pulled over, but not everyone was as cautious.
I saw this guy bumbling towards the flood. His legs just went out from under him. I thought at that point, I just saw somebody die.
911, where's your emergency? There's a guy tried to cross. He's clinging on to the, he's barely got his head above water. He fell into the water, and he's clinging on to a power pole.
Luckily, tow truck owner Brian Gilmore had seen him too.
At the time that we arrived, his head was barely above water. My first thoughts is, how's this guy end up out here? What was he thinking when he crossed this water? You know, but he was in a situation where he needed help.
I can't tell if his head's above water or not. There's no way to help him.
I would think that he wasn't going to be able to hang on to that pole too much longer with the swift water.
This tow truck driver was like, made a decision, got out there, and just went straight into the water. And I'm like, who is this guy?
Gosh, I don't think this is a good idea.
Brian had been out looking for people who needed help. But this man had been clinging for his life for 3 minutes.
You know, I was hollering at him saying, please don't let go. Please don't let go, I'm coming. Please don't let go.
One slip from Brian, and he would be gone too.
Don't let go.
The cable was not hooked into me. I was holding the cable with one hand and reaching for him with the other hand. It got to a point where I couldn't touch with my feet anymore.
Oh, no, almost.
I basically was swimming with the cable hooked to me.
Oh my God.
But when Brian reached him, something was wrong.
Let go of your grocery bag, guy, come on.
The guy was heavily intoxicated, and, you know, I don't know whether he really realized that he was in a life or death situation.
Oh man, I have a feeling this guy is like just drunk or something.
The man had little grip on the reality of the situation, or Brian's hand.
I was holding the cable with one hand, and I pulled him through the water. My partner started pulling us back out, but, you know, those winches on those trucks are not, you know, they're not built for speed, and that gives you some time to analyze, you know, is this really the right thing to do? I wasn't giving up. It was either going to be both of us gone or we were coming out. And I kept trying to tell him, don't worry about your bag, let's get out of this water.
Oh my goodness. Don't let go, don't let go. Oh no, I fell back in! Oh my God. This guy, something is wrong with him. And he won't let go of his dang freaking groceries. Yep, totally drunk. Oh my gosh.
But yards from safety, the man's precious bag went.
Let go, no! Don't chase them, oh my God! Oh my God!
I was very frustrated. I was like, you know, I've done put my life in jeopardy here to get you out, and you're worried about your bag of groceries.
Am I really watching this happen? Is this guy really not letting go of his groceries?
It did make things a lot more difficult, those bag of groceries. As soon as we got him out of the water, he said, you know, thank you, but he was just more in shock, I think, as long as what we were, too.
Brian's like, you know, the superhero of Corsicana, and if there was anyone that could have been there that would have, like, helped this guy and had the strength to do it, it was probably Brian.
It was just one of Brian's rescues that night, but to this day, he still doesn't know the man's name or what was in the bag.
I don't consider myself a hero. I believe putting in a situation that any normal person would have tried to do what I did.
And he's got a big heart. What a cool dude.
Deadly weather, if we are caught out alone, can render us utterly helpless. Christopher Carlson is in Switzerland when an avalanche engulfs him. He is stuck 6.5 feet down, unable to move his limbs. This tiny air pocket gives him just 10 minutes of air. His friends are on the slope somewhere, and they might hear him, if they are not buried too. A full 5 minutes go by. Mercifully, on this occasion, his friends perform a life-saving rescue. Never underestimate the strength of a flash flood. This lady is lucky. A paramedic saw it coming, and she's taken away, concussed, but alive. Friends Chandler and Nate are totally pumped by a tornado in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
There it is. Yes, that it is. That thing looks like you can see debris in the air. That thing is half a mile wide.
Chandler, who's driving, wants to get right next to it, but Nate, who's filming, is more cautious.
Chandler, do not go back that way.
Nate, film it.
I am.
There's two of them.
We need to go that way.
No,
Chandler, God damn it, go back.
We're fine.
Chandler, go back. I'm not kidding.
Reversing down a highway seems the lesser of the dangers.
We don't know if this thing can change directions. We're not experts. It's crossing the interstate right where we were.
Had they not done it, it could have been catastrophic. So sometimes listening is all it takes to save us from ourselves.
Oh my God.
These men, on a fishing trip off Long Island, spot something in the distance.
Well, this is pretty unbelievable.
Have you ever seen?
No. Driving back, and here's a freaking buck swimming out in Long Island Sound. A little closer.
Webbed hooves.
Being 6 miles offshore, they attempt to rescue the deer. It's too heavy to lift into the boat, and tying it by the antlers is not ideal.
All right, buddy. You're all right.
But it's the best they can do. Childhood curiosity and a frozen metal pole are often a bad combination.
All right, move your hands away. Get your hands away.
Oh, gosh.
Luckily, Dad is there to come to the rescue with some hot chocolate.
Oh, no.
Move your hands and get your hands away.
Take your hands off. Andrew, get your head out. Let me see your tongue. Oh, Ryan.
Here, let's get here.
Are you okay, Ryan? It was gonna happen one day.
Poor lad's learnt the hard way to keep his tongue in his mouth.
What did Ryan do?
In this episode, we've seen Mother Nature wreak destruction, leave us for dead, and begging for mercy. Next time, there will be more, because deadly weather stops for no one.